Hi, welcome to XploreAsia's Tourist Visa and Certificate of Entry Application Guide. This is to help you when it comes time for applying for your tourist visa to come over to Thailand. So you can follow along with this webinar in conjunction with the visa guide that we have sent you previously to help you apply for your tourist visa. Before we dive in, this webinar is specifically for Americans and UK citizens. Other nationalities can use this webinar as a guide to help them, but it won't be specifically for other nationalities just because each nationality has a slightly different way to apply for the visa. So you can follow along. Most of the information will apply to you if you're not an American or from the UK, but it may not be exactly the same. So please do use this presentation in conjunction with the visa guide that we have sent you, as both things will help you with your visa application guide. If you have any questions after watching this and reading through the visa guide, please do contact me at my email, cassidy@exploreasia.org. So the first step with the visa is you need to wait to be placed out of school. We understand that this is the longest and the most frustrating part, but we need to get you placed out of school before you can apply for your visa. Once you have been placed, though, we will give you the green light to apply for your visa from there. While you're waiting to be placed, please research flights, quarantine hotels, and insurance companies. That way, when you are placed out of school, that you have everything ready to go, you know what to do, and you can just book everything and get your visa application out to your embassy very quickly from there. After you've been placed, the first step to your visa application is to book everything. So book your flights, book your quarantine hotel, and you'll book your insurance all at the same time. For flights, we recommend not to book a flight any closer than about 3 weeks or 15 business days from the day you apply for your visa. That's because the embassy states on their website it can take up to 15 business days for your visa to be completed and returned back to you. However, most people end up getting their visa within about 2 weeks, but I suggest still maintaining the 3-week distance from your application and your flight that leaves your home country, just in case that the embassy does take up to 15 business days to get these things back to you. So again, please make sure to research in advance what flights you can take. You can either take a repatriation flight or a semi-commercial flight. Semi-commercial flights are much more easy to book. You can find the list of approved flights into Thailand at the links provided here or in the links that we've provided in previous emails. And you can go on any Thai embassy website and look at the approved list as well. We do recommend that you book directly through the airline. It'll just make it easier if you book through an airline by calling or emailing them, rather than using a third-party website, for instance, just in case you need to change your flights for any reason. For quarantine hotels, this can really only usually be booked after you book your flights, so make sure you do your flights first and then quarantine hotel. Make sure to choose some research and ensure that there are rooms available for the day that you arrive in Thailand before booking your flight and your quarantine hotel. When you receive your booking confirmation from the quarantine hotel, make sure you double check the dates to make sure they match to the flight of your arrival time and date into Bangkok. Often hotels will look at the flight details and put in the wrong information, so it is essential that you look at the flight details and make sure they match with your quarantine details on your reservation. If they don't match, just email the hotel back and they'll change it for you, no problem. For a list of the updated quarantine hotels, you can visit any of the Thai embassy websites, but Washington, D.C.'s is updated pretty regularly. You can use this link to find it. It's also in the link that we have sent you in multiple emails, so you can have a look there as well. For insurance, this is going to be booked last after your flight's in quarantine, and you need to make sure that it meets all the Thai government requirements when you book your insurance. So the insurance you have, or the requirements you have to meet is you have to be covered for at least 3 months in Thailand. We ask for the program that you are covered for the duration of your time, just so that you're looked after in case you have to go to the hospital. But you must make sure that the insurance date starts at least on the day that you arrive, if not a day or two before. We do recommend booking a few extra days just to give yourself some wiggle room, just in case, but it does have to at least start on the day that you arrive in Bangkok, and then go forward from there. The insurance must cover you for at least 100,000 US dollars, and it needs to specifically state on the certificate that you are covered for any COVID-19 costs. You can look at the insurance guide that we've sent you. It has these requirements listed, as well as some insurance companies that we know meet these requirements you can have a look at. If none of those insurance companies work for you, that's not a problem. You can book through whoever you would like. As long as it meets the Thai government requirements, it's totally fine. When you are done with your flights, quarantine, and insurance, please make sure you send us a copy of those details so we can add it to our files, so we know that everything is done correctly, everything looks good. We can double check any and all of your dates for you, and then we'll know when you're arriving in Thailand and when we need to arrange transportation for you after your quarantine. All right, once you get all of those things booked, the next step is to apply for your visa online. So, yeah, make sure you read through the visa guide and collect all the documents you need for your visa application. We also recommend you check your embassy's website just to make sure they have not added any additional information to the list of requirements for the application. Make sure you look at both of those things. But when you're ready, you can start your application online at this link that I have included in this presentation. It is also on your visa guide, so you can have a look there for the link as well. When going through the application, make sure you fill in all the required boxes. If you need to upload any electronic copies, make sure you do that to the application. Make sure you have everything before you start your application. But if you need to pause in the middle, the portal should save everything. But try if you can to make sure you have everything before you start. Once you're done with the online portion of the visa application, then you need to either bring your documents in person to an embassy to finish the application, or you can mail your documents and your passport into an embassy to finish. So it's two parts. Part is the online application, second part is the physical application. Both need to be completed to receive a visa for Thailand. So once you're done with the online, do the in person, or you can mail your documents in. Double check with your embassy to see if they are accepting walk-ins if you want to do it that way, as some of them are not accepting walk-ins. When you mail your documents in, if you mail your documents in, we highly suggest that you mail them by overnight or next day mail and have it sent back that way, as that will cut a few days off of the time that you get your visa back. Totally up to you if you want to do this. It's just a good recommendation. Our other recommendation is that you track your package by purchasing tracking to make sure that your visa or your passport will get to the embassy and be sent back. That way you can kind of track to see where your documents are. And if anything were to get lost, then you will be able to, or the mail be able to find it if that happens. So the embassy, once you mail all your documents in or bring all your documents in, the embassy will then process your visa. And if they need anything extra, if you've forgotten something on your application or they need any additional information, they will contact you via email generally. They won't reject an application outright. They will absolutely do their best to contact you and get any additional information from you. So don't be worried if you think you've messed up for some reason. The embassy will contact you if there's anything else that they need for the application. Once your visa is complete, they will mail your passport and your visa back to you or give it to you if you've done it in person. When you receive it back, please send us a scan of your visa to add to our files and to also pass on to your school so that we know everything is done and looks good. Once you get your visa back, now you can apply for your certificate of entry. You can do this immediately. So do make sure that you go back online and get your certificate of entry. You will go to a different link. I've provided the link here. You can also find it in your visa guide. Do make sure you use this link specifically for your certificate of entry application. Once there, again, just follow the application process to apply for the certificate. You will also have to include a picture or a scan of your visa, so do make sure you have that on your computer ready to go. And once you're done, the COE will be sent back to you via email a few days later, generally within a day or two, but no more than a few more days after that. When you receive it, please also remember to send us a certificate of entry for our records and so we can pass on to your school. All right before you fly over to Thailand, you'll have to get a Fit to Fly certificate and a COVID-19 test. We highly recommend you research in advance where to get these documents done and how to apply for them so that when it comes time, you know exactly what to do. Please only complete both of these documents within 72 hours prior to departure from your home country. This is a mandate. It needs to be within the 72 hours from the airlines as well as the Thai government. So the Fit to Fly certificate is just a general health certificate that you can get done through a doctor or nurse or general practitioner. Um, this is just to state that you are healthy and able to come over. It's very, very easy to do. But the documents need to be dated within 72 hours before you depart from your home country. So make sure that you book an appointment for that time frame. The COVID-19 test is obviously to test for COVID-19, and the test itself can be taken outside of the 72 hours, but the results must be issued within 72 hours. This is very, very strict. Make sure that the results are issued within 72 hours and is dated as such. The COVID-19 test also must be an RT-PCR test. Airlines will not accept another test, and the Thai government will not accept another test. You need to take an RT-PCR test, so make sure it is stated as such on the completed documents. The last thing you'll have to do is download the Thailand Plus app. This is a new thing that the Thai government requires of all travelers into the country. It's just a way to declare that you don't have COVID, that sort of thing. So you'll download this on your phone after you receive your COE, and it will generate a QR code, which you'll be required to show when you enter Thailand. So you will have to do this. You can download it in the App Store. I've also included the link here. Do make sure that you complete that before boarding your flight. All right. When you check into your first flight, the airline will ask to see your visa in your passport and your certificate of entry, so do make sure to print that off. A completed declaration form, which you can find a link to here. It's also in the visa guide, and I have also included the page in the visa guide as well. A completed Fit to Fly certificate, which is issued in the last 72 hours, and the COVID-19 test with results issued in the last 72 hours. A copy of your insurance meeting all Thai government requirements, and a completed T8 form, which the link can be found here in the visa guide and at the end of the visa guide as well. So make sure that you have all of those printed out ready to go. We also recommend having multiple copies printed of these, as well as other documents that you may need, like your quarantine hotel details and your flight details. When you fly over to Thailand, don't forget to bring your original highest education certificate. This will be used by your school for your next visa and any other visas that you need from there. And completed original background check. Again, this will be used by your school. We also strongly recommend you self-isolate at least 2 weeks prior to departing to ensure that you won't contract COVID-19 before you board your flight. Final points. When in doubt with any sort of questions, check the embassy's website. The majority of info can be found there. But obviously, if you still have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. This process of the visa and coming over to Thailand, it may seem daunting, but once you start, it's pretty straightforward. Just make sure to give yourself enough time when your flight is supposed to leave and when you apply for your visa. That's where people sometimes can get tripped up. Don't try to rush through the application. That's definitely where people make the most mistakes. Take your time, double check everything, read through the visa guide, watch this webinar, take your time, and you'll be okay. And also triple check all dates on your flights, quarantine hotels, and insurance documents. Again, some people can make mistakes with dating things, so definitely make sure that everything matches up before you apply for your visa. So I hope that this webinar has helped you. Again, if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us, read through the visa guide, watch the webinar. But if you have any more questions after that, reach out to us via email. And we look forward to welcoming you in Thailand soon.